Kristi Noem's appearance on CBS. We're going to play a clip. Now, she says half of her answer was cut out. This is how it went on Sunday.
And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors, and even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America, and our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
So what the viewer should understand is screen left is what did not air, and screen right is what was cut out, basically. CBS says this: Secretary Noem's Face the Nation interview was edited for time and met all CBS News standards. The entire interview is publicly available on YouTube, and the full transcript was posted earlier this morning.
One of the most high-profile examples of someone who's been rounded up by ICE in recent months is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and the fate of his situation is still up in the air. He's awaiting trial on human smuggling charges set for January in Tennessee. But your department's also working to get him deported to Uganda. If he broke the law in this country, as the administration alleges, shouldn't he be held here and face charges here instead of being deported?
Well, prosecution decisions are always made by the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi's department, so we will let them do that. Although this individual does have criminal charges pending, he has charges pending against him civilly as well. And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors, and even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America, and our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
But I heard you say that we're going to let the Justice Department do that. Does that mean the push to deport him to Uganda is off?
Oh, we will still continue to pursue all options.
Okay.
We will make sure that he's not released into this country. So regardless of that, yes, absolutely. He's not an American citizen and he shouldn't be here, and especially because of his dangerous criminal activities, we should ensure that we leave every avenue on the table.
Got it.
I don't know how many folks read a transcript. We do, because it's kind of in our business and it's our job. I can imagine some people go to YouTube and see that. What do you make of her claim and CBS's response?
Well, it's very disheartening, the fact that they want to go ahead and stop Secretary Noem from telling the truth about this, this egregious offender, right? So, to your point, Bill, no one's going to read a transcript, or no one's going to go to YouTube. You had millions of viewers at that time, at the Sunday morning show, watching that and have, key parts of that conversation cut out. It's not right. Under President Trump's administration, with Secretary Noem, she's committed us to being transparent, and that's what we're doing. The American people need to know exactly who we are arresting. In the last administration, we were always on the defense when it came to media, but now we want to make sure that public actually knows what the men and women of ICE are doing out there every day. In that interview, she told about this offender and why he needs to be deported back to his country. And I think, it's a shame that they would go ahead and edit that, because this person isn't a Maryland man. He's a criminal alien from El Salvador that's living in Maryland that we need to take off the street.
One of the most high-profile examples of someone who's been rounded up by ICE in recent months is Kilmar Abrego Garcia, and the fate of his situation is still up in the air. He's awaiting trial on human smuggling charges set for January in Tennessee. But your department's also working to get him deported to Uganda. If he broke the law in this country, as the administration alleges, shouldn't he be held here and face charges here instead of being deported?
Well, prosecution decisions are always made by the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi's department, so we will let them do that. Although this individual does have criminal charges pending, he has charges pending against him civilly as well. And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, a MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted, that he solicited nude photos from minors, and even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America, and our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
But I heard you say that we're going to let the Justice Department do that. Does that mean the push to deport him to Uganda is off?
Oh, we will still continue to pursue all options.
Okay.
We will make sure that he's not released into this country. So regardless of that, yes, absolutely. He's not an American citizen and he shouldn't be here, and especially because of his dangerous criminal activities, we should ensure that we leave every avenue on the table.
Got it. Because we've learned that Immigration and Customs Enforcement is planning on expanding operations in the coming days to Chicago. When are those operations expected to start? And you said in recent days that you're using the recent deployments in Los Angeles as a model. What does that mean?
Well, we've already had ongoing operations with ICE in Chicago and throughout Illinois and other states, making sure that we're upholding our laws. But we do intend to add more resources to those operations. I won't disclose the details because they are law enforcement and investigative folks that are on the ground there, and I want to make sure we keep their security our number one priority. But we will continue to go after the worst of the worst across the country, like President Trump has told us to do, focusing on those that are perpetuating murder and rape and trafficking of drugs and humans across our country, knowing that every single citizen deserves to be safe.
Part of what distinguished the Los Angeles operations, however, is that National Guard troops were there, in essence, protecting or backing up those federal agents as they conducted operations. Is that what we should expect to see in Chicago?
You know, that always is a prerogative of President Trump and his decision. I won't speak to the specifics of the operations that are planned in other cities, but I do know that LA wouldn't be standing today if President Trump hadn't taken action. Then that city would have burned down if left to the devices of the mayor and the governor of that state. And so the citizens who live there, the small business owners in downtown LA, they're thankful that President Trump came in with federal law enforcement officers and helped support keeping those streets open, keep their homes and businesses from burning down, and made sure the law and order was restored.
I just want to clarify one thing you said there. You said LA wouldn't be standing if not for these federal deployments?
So many of those homes and businesses that were in downtown LA and in those areas were dealing with riots and violence, and coming in and bringing those federal law enforcement officers in was incredibly important to keeping peace. And so we are grateful that President Trump was willing to send resources and people in order to enforce the law. And Ed, since then, we have arrested 5,000 dangerous illegal criminals out of LA and removed them from our country and had them face justice for their crimes. And many of these individuals were people who have, conducted horrific activities against American citizens, trafficking of children and pedophiles. And so that's one of the things that the people of LA can be grateful for, is that they don't have those bad actors, those people on their streets anymore because of the work of President Trump and his administration.
So as you know, we spoke with Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker about all this, and I asked him what he'd say to you about these forthcoming plans. Let's play that and let you respond after.
What she's doing is inflaming passions and causing disruption that doesn't need to be caused. We have people that have lived, yes, in the state of Illinois and the city of Chicago for decades, working here, paying taxes. They're law-abiding members of our communities, friends, neighbors, and why are we arresting them? Why are we making them disappear? Indeed, they're even disrupting the lives of people who are attempting to go through a legal process to stay in this country, who've been invited to a hearing, and then they're arresting them in the hallways on their way to that hearing. So this is dangerous. They shouldn't be doing it. It's anti-American. It's un-American. And I would tell her to maybe check herself for what does she really believe.
She's also critical of the fact that Chicago is one of those cities that doesn't cooperate with federal immigration operations. And she was quoted as saying that Illinois, quote, refuses to have our back.
Well, that's not true. In fact, there were police officers who made sure that there was nobody interfering or attacking or causing problems for the ICE officials that were here. People have a right to express themselves. People have a right to their First Amendment, freedom to express. And we protect that too in the city of Chicago. So it's not true that nobody has their backs. What we won't do, however, is engage in what is a federal effort. That is to say, they have their job, immigration. We have our job, which is to fight violent crime on the streets of our city. And by the way, we're succeeding at that job. But when they bring people in and don't coordinate with us, they're going to cause enormous problems.
Well, for 13 consecutive years, Chicago had more murders than any other American city. In fact, just last year in 2024, they had 3 times the amount of murders that LA did, 5 times more than New York City. So he can talk about what a great job he's doing as governor, but he's failing those families who will no longer have their child with them, their mother or their father or their cousin, aunt and uncle, that are gone forever because of the violence that's happening in Chicago. So I was a governor for many years. So I recognize the responsibilities that you have on your shoulder when you're a governor. And I'll tell you, as a governor, when I had to make tough decisions and when I had disagreements with the Biden administration or challenges my people were facing, I called up the Biden administration. I went and talked to them. I asked for meetings. I fought for my people. This seems like it's more about Governor Pritzker's ego now rather than actually protecting his people. If he has one murder in the city of Chicago, he should be calling President Trump and saying, what's your ideas? What can we do? They don't even honor our detainers in Chicago. They don't go out there and work with us to make sure we're bringing people to justice. And instead he goes on TV and he attacks me when we're doing exactly what those people need, is they need someone to help them get the dangerous criminals off their streets. And if he has 1, 2, 5, or 10, those victims and their families deserve to walk in freedom on those streets and not have to worry about what's going to happen to them on their way to their jobs. I think there's a lot of cities that are dealing with crime and violence right now, and so we haven't taken anything off the table. We've been making sure that we have the resources and the equipment to go in. We've been working to partner with every single agency that we can. We have hundreds and hundreds of agreements with local law enforcement, sheriffs, city administrators and mayors across the country that want to solve problems. I'd encourage every single big city, San Francisco, Boston, Chicago, whatever they are, if they want to help make their cities safer, more prosperous, allow people the opportunity to walk in freedom like the people of Washington, D.C. are now, and enjoying going out to eat at night and not having to worry if they're going to be a victim of a carjacking or a robbery, they should call us, because we will work with anybody and do what we can to make sure that we're upholding our Constitution, upholding the law, but making sure their families are safe.
You mentioned there are a bunch of cities in Democratic-controlled states with Democratic mayors, and there have been a lot of questions asked about that focus. There are Republican cities.
Absolutely. Every single city is evaluated for what we need to do there to make it safer. So we've got operations that, again, I won't talk about details on, but we absolutely are not looking through the viewpoint at anything we're doing with a political lens. It is what can we do to make sure that we're continuing to get up every day and to fight for the American citizen, and that they have the chance to go out there and pursue the American dream.
One of the most high-profile examples of someone who's been rounded up by ICE in recent months is Kilmar Garcia, and the fate of his situation is still up in the air. He's awaiting trial on human smuggling charges set for January in Tennessee. But your department's also working to get him deported to Uganda. If he broke the law in this country, as the administration alleges, shouldn't he be held here and face charges here instead of being deported?
Well, prosecution decisions are always made by the Department of Justice and Pam Bondi's department, so we will let them do that. Although this individual does have criminal charges pending, he has charges pending against him civilly as well. And the one thing that we will continue to do is to make sure that he doesn't walk free in the United States of America. This individual was a known human smuggler, MS-13 gang member, an individual who was a wife beater, and someone who was so perverted that he solicited nude photos from minors, and even his fellow human traffickers told him to knock it off. He was so sick in what he was doing and how he was treating small children. So he needs to never be in the United States of America, and our administration is making sure we're doing all that we can to bring him to justice.
But I heard you say that we're going to let the Justice Department do that. Does that mean the push to deport him to Uganda is off?
Oh, we will still continue to pursue all options.
Okay.
We will make sure that he's not released into this country. So regardless of that, yes, absolutely. He's not an American citizen and he shouldn't be here, and especially because of his dangerous criminal activities, we should ensure that we leave every avenue on the table.
Got it.
That's all for today. Thank you. If you want global news to keep you up to date on any new developments, please subscribe our channel and forward our content with your friends on social media and email. Thank you very much for keep supporting me. Stay safe, be blessed. Namaste.
Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.